Hello there, as someone else here, and today we're going to do a review of the Federalist Papers. I'm going to say this well and I'm going to say it loud, hopefully, or I'm going to say it as best as I can. These people were fighting for the Constitution before you were born. These people were fighting for the Constitution before after the U.S. Army was established. They meaning Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison, of two different states, James Madison being of Virginia and Alexander Hamilton and John Jay being of New York, argued for a federal and national constitution in the Federalist Papers. And, to see people fighting for a constitution that didn't exist, it was a coup. The founding fathers, they went in and they started a coup in Philadelphia. The doors were locked, the windows were sealed, nobody knew about it except for these 56 people. And these 56 people were delegates from all the states, and they drafted a constitution. And in this book, there is a constitution. Let me see if I can get the other book I have. This is the basic United States Constitution right here. And, Veterans Day is coming up, and I might as well talk about the Constitution. And be honest, this document, the Constitution, is amazing. This is how we base our decisions, our government, how they constantly battle for power. John Locke was absolutely correct in that if you have a government that struggles for power all the time, the three branches are, struggling for power regardless. They're not, quote, they're not equal, but they kind of like go on each other, making sure everything is constitutionally law bound in the document. You can get the citizens to have rights, but the problem is also you can add up a bunch of bureaucracy, like we have executive orders, and at that point it kind of acts like a law anyway. That's besides the point. I don't want to get into constitutional law too much. I'm not a lawyer or anything. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I always hear people say, "Oh, the U.S. Army in the Revolutionary War fought so we could protect the Constitution." I'm like, the United States was founded in 1780. Like, okay, this is a controversial claim, but the current United States, as it stands, was founded under their document, the document we live under today. The U.S. Constitution was founded in 1789. Well, when it was officially, ratified directly. And, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way things are. People always say to me, 1776, July 4th is the Independence Day, but I would argue it was somewhere around the later months of 1789 when the government was actually established by the people. Now, again, the people made the government, not the government made the people. It's not, Ronald Reagan said that in his very famous speech when he became inaugurated as President of the United States. And to this day, the people in the states made the government, not the other way around. The government did not create the states. However, you can argue that, 37 of the states were created by the 13 original states, and how they marched over all the land, and they expanded all over the land to basically found the other 37 states. So at that regard, maybe I would say, I don't know, maybe I would say, like, okay, maybe that's, Ronald Reagan was technically wrong in that regard, but at the most part, Ronald Reagan was correct. The states did kind of make the government, and the Federalist Papers are a good example of the states kind of, this coup basically. I mean, who's going to be anti-federalist, right? That was what they named themselves. It's very hard to come up with a movement when you don't have your own name. The Federalists were very unified in their ideals. And so that's why the Federalists won, and they drafted our Constitution, unlike the anti-Federalist Constitution. However, in order to get the anti-Federalists to agree with the Constitution, they need to have a Bill of Rights. And they also had an amendment to make sure that none of the other rights were being trampled upon. And so they wanted to make sure that all of the citizens of the United States were also citizens of their own state. And if you were a citizen of your own state, you sort of move back and forth. And also I have this beautiful cover here. I forgot. Beautiful cover. It's got the drafters of the Constitution. But again, the Federalist Papers were made a little bit after the Constitution. But the thing is, the people in the Federalist Papers didn't say they made the Constitution. They just said they knew about it. And so they were basically arguing in France during in New York City on this Constitution. And I only have, 12 of the papers probably in this book? Let me look here. I don't have all the Federalist Papers in this book, sadly. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I have 18 of the Federalist Papers, but there are at least 116 Federalist Papers. So I don't even have a third of the Federalist Papers in this book. But it's a very good overview. There's a historical guy writing in the front of the Federalist Papers, and he makes things so much easier because the way Hamilton writes is so elite that I don't really think they used to be reading the Federalist Papers without the historical present in this book. So in my opinion, this book is a lot better because of the guy writing at the beginning explaining why that Federalist paper was written. But at that point, I don't know who was it? It was introduced by R.B. Bernstein. Okay, so R.B. Bernstein was the one who basically did all those beginning ones. All those beginning like, oh, this is what this Federalist paper is trying to say. Which is honestly very, very good. Without that explanation, we would have nothing. Anyway, that's besides the point. They were fighting before you existed. I'm someone, you are someone and I'm someone else. Goodbye. Signing out.